I want you all to understand that the fact that I'm being forced to discuss this is genuinely pathetic, and I'm actually disgusted by the broader behavior of the left-leaning community. Not because all of you are pedophiles, but because none of you are stupid enough to understand the arguments that I'm making. First, let me explain what pride is to anybody who hasn't actually been, okay? Historically, pride has been a lot of things. It's generally been like a parade, a march, sometimes a protest or a riot. There are a lot of directions that pride can take. Wait, did I say smart enough, stupid enough? No, we're going 40 IQ on this one, okay? You're trying to overthink it right now. We're going down to grug mode, okay? Because this is some intuitive shit. I hate to appeal to anti-intellectualism here, but the fact that there are people trying to fucking logic their way out of you shouldn't be sexual around kids is really weird to me. So let's just think for a second, okay? Let's talk about what pride is. Now, historically, pride has been a lot of stuff, okay? Back in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, gay people were more discriminated against here in the States. I'm referring here to America. This is like an America context type thing. And for that reason, pride parades tended to be a couple of things. First and foremost, they tended to be antagonistic, like to the broader society, which is fine. Broader society was being antagonistic to them. That works. And second of all, not a great place to bring your kids, because usually cops would crack down on it, people would be throwing rocks. It was bad, okay? Just not a great place to bring kids. Not because there were gay people there, but because it was a highly contentious social event that could lead to a lot of, a lot of civil unrest, right? That's phenomenal. This is not the era in which we currently live. Most major cities, and even a lot of small cities, now have pride events. A pride event is usually orchestrated either by the city or by some nonprofit or by a local charity group or something like that. And they have this big festival, basically. The festival is held somewhere in a relatively public area, and it's meant to be a celebration of queer culture and history. Is everyone following so far? Now, I've been to a number of pride events. I lived near West Hollywood, one of the gayest places on the planet, okay? I am completely saturated in the culture, okay, of, let's be real, white cis gay men being loud, okay? I'm completely familiar with how this runs down, all right? So I've seen some people online, they're like, Vash has never even touched a dick. He doesn't know. First of all, I've sucked more dicks than you've ever seen online. That's probably not true. You're probably all always online degenerates. But anyway, shut up, okay? Second of all, that the extent to which people engage in sexual activity is not a marker of their participation in a community, okay? Look, here's how pride works, all right? Get ready, okay? Everyone get ready. So I'm going to draw a square. I know, not a very fun shape, but that's what we're going with. This right here is pride, okay? What should pride be? What pride should be now is not what pride should have been 30 years ago, keep in mind. We're not working off history here. We're working off modern need, okay? Modern utility, okay? What should pride be? Now, in my mind, pride should make it a rainbow so it's more exciting. That takes effort. In my mind, okay? This is my brain. Here's my perspective, okay? Pride should be an uncontroversial celebration of queer identity and queer history as a way of A, putting on a good face for the normies, B, giving people who are on the cusps of the community an entry into it, like an opportunity to dip their toes in, C, showing people what it's all about, and D, being fun, okay? The reason why I like these elements is because I think that it works to A, normalize like gay people, which is good, that's good, and B, it makes it easier for people who might otherwise not participate in the gay community jump into it. See, that's important, okay? It's important that that happen. If a person is gay or trans or lesbian, I'm just going to say gay generally because LGBT saying over and over again has more syllables. If a person is gay, generally, why care about the opinion of cishetes? Ban that person. We'll get to you. So if a person is gay, it can often be a really isolating experience, especially if you're young, okay? Or queer. Let's go with queer. If a person is queer, it can often be a really isolating experience, okay? So let me remind you guys, if you're 26 and like a gay dude, you don't have shit on 14-year-olds starting to realize they may be queer, gay, lesbian, trans, whatever, okay? You don't have shit on them, all right? They are the ones who need the greatest amount of social support, okay? Trust me. They're the ones who need the representation. They're the ones who need the public support. They're the ones who need the entryism. They're the ones who need all the help they can get, okay? I'm fucking 27, okay? I'm queer. It doesn't affect my life in the slightest. Nobody bothers me. It helps that I live in a progressive city, but my age also gives me the ability to separate myself from people who might be hateful towards me because of my identity. I have the power in that situation. If I have neighbors who I don't like, if I have coworkers who I don't like, if there are people in my life who I don't like and they hate me because I like men too, I can easily cut them out of my life. Or maybe with some difficulty, but a kid has no power, okay? No power in that respect. A kid is forced to communicate and spend time with all of the people that is lined up for them through the procession of their parental decisions and et cetera, okay? That is, they have to follow that line. They have very little power to adjust it, okay? Which is why they need the greatest amount of support. This is why people who say that Pride isn't for kids should unironically go fucking walk off, okay, into the woods of Nebraska and go live and prim lifestyles where they can never again reach a computer and tell me what they think Pride should be, okay? You are so selfish, so fucking selfish when you, an adult, try to tell everyone that Pride shouldn't be for kids because you want to do adult shit at Pride. You are so fucking self-obsessed. It makes me disgusted to be a part of this community to see takes like that taken seriously. Oh, dude, Pride historically has been about throwing bricks at cop cars. First of all, fuck you, LARPer. You weren't doing shit like that. Second of all, if you really care about throwing bricks at cop cars, you shouldn't need Pride as an excuse, all right? You can throw it at any time. Not that I'm endorsing that, Twitch. Thank you very much. But don't pretend like Pride was like the one avenue of social unrest that you had the opportunity to participate in, okay? Because it's not. And it never has been, all right? What you're doing is you're LARPing. You're sacrificing the accessibility to kids in favor of some weird aesthetic that, and I'm going to take a hot take here, betting most of the people who are bitching about this on social media have never actually been to a Pride event. Pretty confident in that. Pretty fucking confident in that. I'd bet that hard, okay? Absolutely I would. All right? Now, most Pride events are presentable and, like, accessible to kids. The one in Humboldt, the one that I went to most recently, also is, okay? It was literally just like a big fairground type thing, you know? And there were, like, booths over here and there, like, make a tie-dye shirt, you know? Go buy this bar of soap made from a local vendor, you know? Here, you can buy some flags. I think the most suggestive thing I remember is that somebody molded lollipops into, like, big dicks or something. But, like, the broader, I mean, it was just fun. It was just funny. Okay, whatever. But the broader atmosphere, I think, was broadly presentable. And if you're a parent, you let your kid buy the popsicle dick. That's on you. I mean, whatever. But generally speaking, it felt like things were kept like fairly accessible to everyone. Okay. You can argue like the edge cases on that or whatever, but fine. So the problem is, okay, that there are some Pride events where there are displays of what I would consider very obviously sexual behavior in ways that are not like shuttled off to some little booth in the far back that you have to look for specifically, but are like made a core element of the presentation. And this is where it really gets me, okay? This really, really bugs me because there are so many bad faith comparisons that I see online. So I think Pride should be appropriate to children, okay? I think that you should be like, if you're like a gay parent, if you're like 35, and you got like a 9-year-old kid, you should be able to go there. And not only should you be able to go there, you should be able to invite like your kids' friends' parents there. Like you should be, hey, like my kid and your kid want to hang out. Maybe they could go this and we could like hang out or something, like that kind of thing. You know? Like that's how presentable I want it to be. And a lot of places are that presentable. I don't want to give the impression that all Pride events are like these degeneracy havens and like I'm complaining against that. I'm mostly complaining against the people on social media who think that Pride should be some sort of nightclub spillover fuckfest who do not give a shit about the kids. But there's a group even worse than them. There's the group of people who say, no, Pride should be for kids. And we should have sexual activity at Pride. And that's where all the pedo accusations come in. Okay? Now, let's address these arguments real quick. Okay? Now, this mostly gets hung up on what constitutes sexual activity. And people come out with the arguments, If you go to the beach, you see people in boxers, you see people in bikinis. Is this sexual activity? To which I would say no. Culturally and contextually, beaches are places where people wear that type of clothing. I don't think anybody thinks of that as sexual activity. I don't think anyone thinks of that as inappropriate. Additionally, beaches tend to be spread out. They tend to be a lot of distance between the people who attend them. And additionally, beaches aren't presentative. There isn't a central aesthetic focus to a beach. You go there for the beach, you know? So for those reasons, like, I don't think this is necessarily a clean comparison, all right? Now, if you're wearing, like, leather gimp gear or some sort of BDSM dog hood on a leash or some shit, I think this is sexual. Now, a lot of people, they've said, oh, this isn't sexual. How is this sexual? You can go to Victoria's Secret and see people in a bikini on the advertisement, which, first of all, okay, having an advertisement with, like, softcore nudity is nowhere near the same as a gigantic fucking block party with men in leather thongs dancing around, okay? I can this is not the same thing, okay? All right? This is not even remotely comparable for so many reasons that are so obvious that I worry the people making these takes legitimately have never been outside. So to them, a picture on a billboard and a person in real life, they carry the same weight in their head. Like to that, like their minds have melted until they don't understand the difference between bringing a kid to a shopping mall and walking by a Victoria's Secret and bringing a kid to Pride and seeing a bunch of dudes in leather fucking gimp suits being led around by a leash. The idea to me that there are people in actual good earnest faith making the comparison between those two things is unfathomable to me. This sounds like a trad take, not gonna lie. Mods, you can just ban everyone who says shit like that. None of these people belong in my community, okay? Now, additionally, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, just purge, okay? Just remove, okay? These people, they don't have arguments, by the way. They just want to be able to wave their dick around in front of kids. Yeah, I'll say it. I think you're fucking weird, okay? So the idea that these things are comparable, okay, is absolutely ridiculous to me. Additionally, a lot of the people, they'll make these arguments. Have you heard this argument while participating in the discourse online? You know, see, you're so prudish and American, you know, seeing a person in like tight leather thong or seeing a person naked even, it's not harmful to children. We should destigmatize nudity and sexuality. They're not the same thing, which I don't know if the argument they're making here is that it should be okay to flash children in subway train stations. Is that the argument they're making? Like you're like walking with your kid like in the New York subway and someone flashes their dick at you and like the kid's like and somebody else like and you're like no. Sexuality and nudity aren't the same thing. Come on, guys. What are these trad takes right here? No. Come on. Oof, that's a pretty shitty bad equivalency. No, it's not. You're just too stupid to get it. The argument is that even if nudity isn't inherently sexual, there are contexts in which it's inappropriate to engage in public. Like, for example, all of society, you fucking idiots. Jesus Christ, do we really have to argue back to this point? One of the core things that I learned when I got my fucking kinky rocks on or whatever in college was public play is irresponsible unless done in a controlled setting because people around you haven't consented to being a party to your to your sexual activity. This is like 101 stuff. The fact to me that people are backing off this position, like, oh yeah, sure. It's a violation of others' consent to involve them in sexual activity in public, unless it's at Pride, in which case it's totally okay. What? Are you fucking joking? Are you kidding me right now? Unless you do this wraparound and you're like, well, actually, it's not sexual at all, the gimp suits and the dog mask, to which I say, fuck off, and come on. Guys, I'm honestly right now, I'm arguing past the boundary that I need to. There's only one point I actually need to make, okay? You know what it is? People aren't comfortable around people wearing gimp suits and dog masks. That's it. People should be comfortable going to Pride. That's it. You don't have to the arguments that people will pull out to defer from this position are insane to me. I'm actually asking because I just want to ban all the people who give the wrong answer on this, okay? Would you be okay with a bill saying that for like sex ed given to your kids, that rather than being like read out from a book, that the teacher gets naked and like shows on their body? Would you be okay with that? Is that okay? Because nudity isn't sexual, right? It's like totally fine, right? Okay, we're looking for any yesers in chat want to get, yeah, yeah? Because this seems like the natural, logical progression from what I'm seeing online. Like, nudity and sexuality need to be destigmatized. Look, dog, okay? Nudity is not inherently sexual, but inherently isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about the culture that we live in, okay? You know what else isn't inherently offensive? Flipping people off, calling them the N-word. It's just a collection of vibrations through the soundscape, okay? That's not inherently harmful. Saying slurs isn't inherently harmful. It's only contextually harmful. Well, we live in a society, guys, okay? We live in a society. So this inherently this or that is a completely invalid argument when we're talking about the potential to harm people, okay? Inherently, anytime a person says something is inherently this or that, it almost naturally invalidates their argument because we're almost never talking about things which are inherently anything, okay? So I feel like I've dispensed with most of the bad faith arguments here, and a lot of the people here have been banned, but I just want to say, people who are arguing it's not inherently sexual to be led around by a leash and a dog mask, I don't give a fuck. It's considered sexual. Everyone considers it sexual. Everyone does. You're the only lunatic who doesn't, okay? You could take photos of a person being led around in public in a dog mask with a leash and show them to 1,000 people, and I guarantee you the overwhelming majority of those people are going to say it's sexual. And given that whether or not something is sexual is a social construct, I defer to the wisdom of the masses on this particular subject. What about topless women in public? Well, that's an interesting question right there, okay? Do women go topless in public in states where they're allowed to? The answer is no. In New York City, they're allowed to, aren't they? But they don't. Do you know why? It's because there are cultural and social repercussions to going topless in public. Now, maybe in the far future, like a billion years from now, or whatever, maybe then all humans are enlightened and we're all levitating with our brain power and we're all naked and nobody cares because nobody considers it sexual. People only wear clothing to protect us from the harsh solar radiation when we travel into space and fly off to our interstellar fucking colonies, okay? Maybe then, all right? But the problem is, people aren't living in that zone right now. And the arguments for nudity not being inherently sexual are not going to ring particularly well when I fucking climb up on a ladder to your second story bathroom or bedroom window and start jerking off in front of it, okay? You're not going to appreciate my extremely woke arguments on whether or not nudity is inherently sexual then, are you? Okay? No, you're not. Because all of you live in a society too, and the only reason you're taking this fucking devil's advocate position is because you like the idea of being horny at Pride. Okay? Jerking off in public is already against the law. What an incredible homophobic element of discrimination. Am I right, guys? Look, guys, you guys ready? Here's what you can do. The main Pride event should be accessible to everyone. Did you know that there's never just one Pride event in any city ever? Did you know that there are billions of block parties and after parties, clubs hosting special events, fucking private venues hosting shows and all that shit afterwards, everywhere in every city in America that has more than 10,000 people in its population? Did you know pride parades aren't the be-all, end-all of public queer advocacy and expression? Did you know that? Are you aware that if you really want to wear a dog mask in front of people, you can go to any of the dozens of available spaces designed to cater to horny adults? You can do that anywhere. Just, can we let Pride be like an event where people can just like go and it's not this crazy fucking controversy optics nightmare 97 fucking % of the time? Can you clarify if people in a leather vest is sexual or not? Guys, I don't know why when I say leather gimp suit, people hear this. Hold on. Gay leather. Let me show you what's not inappropriate at Pride. I don't know why this is controversial to anyone. I don't know what. Okay, hold on. This is fine. Why do people keep pretending that when I say leather gimp suit, I mean dudes like this, okay? Yes, I know about leather culture. Holy shit, they're dressed up more than I am at Pride. I wear tank tops and shorts at Pride, okay? They're wearing more than I am, all right? Now, this admittedly, I mean, this looks pretty warm. I don't know what the temperature is over there. Gonna get pretty steamy under that clothing, which is maybe the point. But when I'm saying leather gimp suits, I am not referring to people wearing normal clothing, which admittedly looks a little bit like Nazi clothes, but that's just kind of the... It's a whole cultural thing, okay? But like, look at the, like, look. Okay, if you can get past the fact that it does look a little bit like Nazi stuff, especially this guy's wearing an armband. A blue armband? Is this like pro cop leather? Look, ignoring the potential political implications, nobody's referring to this when they talk about like leather shit being inappropriate. Now, there are a lot of photos open on my Google Images on my other monitor, which are quite inappropriate that I'll not be showing for Twitch purposes. But also, like, here, I can show this. Also, if you're like wearing an open jacket, dogs, you can wear an open jacket like anywhere in America. This is fine. You can wear this anywhere. Like anywhere at all. Okay? They actually are complaining about that, though. I strongly disagree. From the discourse that I've seen online, people are mostly using that dog fetish leash thing as an example of inappropriate behavior, and then people acting in bad faith are like, "You have a problem with leather? Okay." And then they post a picture of like a gay guy completely dressed in leather. I think that is fetish wear, though. Yeah, but you know what else is fetish wear? Leggings. But you can wear leggings in public. Just because there's an article of clothing associated with kink or fetish doesn't mean that every public demonstration of that piece of clothing is inappropriate. Obviously, okay? But can we really look? I'm not trying to define the lines here, okay? I'm not telling you there is a very solid, very specific, very definite line where this is acceptable and this is unacceptable because you know what? We don't have that anywhere. Anywhere. We can't even agree what acceptable clothing is for high schoolers in school. There is no way to determine with perfect accuracy what an acceptable line is. I'm only making the argument that you shouldn't engage in sexual behavior around children, that kink, BDSM, pet play, dom shit is sexual behavior that you shouldn't engage in around children, and that pride should be accessible to kids. Those are the arguments that I am making. Okay? If you want to wear a spiked collar or like cat ears or some shit, those are associated with kink. You can wear them anyway. You can wear that shit to fucking school these days, probably. I don't know. The kids are crazy these days. People care less and less about this stuff. And in 10 or 20 or 30 years, maybe the line moves on this, okay? And when the line moves, we can have this conversation again, okay? Maybe in the year 2172, okay? When the teleportation and levitation shit's finally starting to kick in, maybe everyone just wears thongs and pasties in the future, okay? Maybe. Maybe that's just the default. Maybe the president wears that. That's just the uniform in the future, okay? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe 2170. I don't know what's going to be going on down there. The lines are culturally determined and they're variable and they're arbitrary and they differ from culture to culture. I'd be okay with pride parades in Europe maybe being a little bit more permissive with nudity than pride parades in America for the same reason that I think it's okay to do some things in some countries but not other things in other countries. The broader utilitarian concern is conforming to the cultural expectations that you live of the country you live in. And if you disagree with that, then my follow-up question would be, how would you feel about going to Saudi Arabia as long as you were given some kind of diplomatic immunity and holding a pride parade over there using the same kind of clothing and attitudes that you do over here in the States? You fucking wouldn't, would you? No, you fucking wouldn't. No, you would not. Absolutely you would not. None of you are stupid enough to try. Because the cultural inclinations of a society matter when deciding how to behave in public events there. Okay? Does that make sense? Are we all on board now? Anyone, I just want to point out, by the way, that like basically all pride or queer oriented events that aren't the main pride event every year are already catering to adult interests. So the people who are saying we should be able to be super fucking horny in public are saying not only do we deserve all of this territory and all of this territory and all the clubs and all the events and all the bars and all the private parties, we also deserve the main pride event, which they're free to go to, by the way. Just wear clothes. That's what they're saying. And I find their arguments unconvincing and their behavior incredibly selfish. Not to mention the optics stuff. I haven't even talked optics, okay? But yeah, Pride is basically the most forward-facing, like, optically available, like, queer event in America. And every year we get the same discourse. Wouldn't it be easier to just, like, saddle the controversy a little bit, considering how often gay people are accused of being fucking pedos? Because I'm gonna be real with you guys. I really do think that the people who want to be kinky at Pride just get off on being transgressive. Okay, I do believe that. I don't think they sincerely believe that they're doing some sort of crazy like civil rights fight. I just think it gets their dick hard to be super transgressive in public. Which, hey, by the way, you don't have to be gay for that to be the case, okay? Straight people also get off on being transgressive in public. That doesn't make it good, and that doesn't make it a civil rights struggle, okay? All right, I think we did it. But you're literally promoting the idea that gays are pedos? No. I'm saying the idea that people adamantly fighting for the right to be sexual in front of children are pretty suspicious in that regard, okay? And I think the vast majority of IRL fucking queer people would consider the online positions I've seen people take insane, by the way. Just from the queer people I've met in real life, I can say this very confidently, that if I talk to them about this would be a no-brainer for them. Yeah, Pride should be available for kids. Yeah, we probably shouldn't do any crazy sex stuff at Pride. Yeah, obviously. But then I go online and a bunch of fucking bread tubers who have probably never been to a Pride event in their fucking life are dying on this hill. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be mean to the people who are doing this. But like, God, come on. All right, are we good? Did we do it? Are we here? Are we free? Is this appropriate clothing at Pride? I don't know. You know, I get the aesthetic that he's trying for here, but yeah, I don't know, man. This feels like a little inappropriate. Uh